we are trying to change the way how innovation is done, or at least the way how innovators think about a certain problem. Instead of just thinking, well, I want to have something where I would put my coffee on and then somebody would come and design a table for it. You also need to think about the extra uses where it's going to be. Like if I would have a table with only 1 feet, would that be stable enough? So, obviously this is a silly example, and you would probably put 4 legs on it in order to make it stable enough. And this is the kind of a thing that we're actually doing at advanced materials and nanomaterials scale. We are trying to make sure that people think about the functionality and the safety of that product early on. So that's one of the things that we're doing. This is a more of a materials design or materials development process. We are trying to simplify the bureaucratic processes that are involved in all this. Close the gap between the innovator and the regulator, right? In a way that they talk much earlier rather than having them only talking in the end of the product. It's a twofold kind of a work that we're doing. Speeding up innovation and bringing safer materials to your market. The way how small companies as well as large companies can benefit from EU-funded projects is through what I like to think is a trusted environment where pretty much all those different companies can share data with each other. We're talking about small companies, we're talking about larger companies, we're talking about academics, we're talking about small spin-offs, we are talking about consulting companies, all of them, insurance companies, the society as a whole, all of them can play with each other in a way that they know very well the rules of the playground. And I think that that's one of the greatest things that we bring to it. When we're talking about smaller companies, they might benefit from having access to results that, for instance, a larger company has produced in order to develop their own work. So by doing this, they are somehow indirectly benefiting from the infrastructure and from the heavy human resources that a large company has. Obviously, if it would be only a one-way, this doesn't work. So a larger company would also heavily benefit from the flexibility that a small company has and be able to just change in the way how they're doing it, right? I mean, a larger company, if you're talking about a large chemical company, they might have a process that is a few, cubic tons, right? I mean, per day, if not per hour. For them to do any small change into this is very costly. A smaller company might have a much smaller volume, therefore they can change those things much faster and figure out a way to produce it probably more efficiently or safer or both. So the idea is putting together a consortia in which each individual partner has something which they are giving to the project. And the goal of the project is bigger than each one of the partners. The benefits that the EU citizens see on EU-funded research normally has to do with safer products reaching the market. In a certain way, we are always playing with this kind of a role of probabilities. If I'll tell you, you know what, you can come in my car, there's a 10% chance that you might not come out of it alive. You probably wouldn't. On the other hand, I mean, if you would buy a lottery ticket, don't say there is a 1% chance that you might win, you probably would buy it. So there is always this small thing of probabilities that you need to consider. And me working in my office as a policy officer, I cannot tell you what that number is, and only us as a society collectively can do it. So that's the role that we see. It's the risk perception, the risk acceptance of it. The way how European citizens can and should act in this area is through transparency of information, meaning that they know what we are doing at an European level. Beyond transparency, you also need to have empowerment. And I think that's the thing that we are currently working, in which is how to give the citizens a voice in a way to shape how we're going to be working on this. What we want to make sure is that whichever products reach the market that has nanomaterials in them or is directly on nanomaterials are as safe as they can be, as much as our state-of-the-art methods can allow it to be.